The next series I want to dig into here is, in my opinion, the most intriguing of the first round, and it's Tampa Bay versus Toronto. I mean,
Yes.
they split the season series 2-2. But remember the Lightning like a week ago or 10 days ago had that 8-goal outburst, and Tampa went on this insane run to close out the year in terms of their ability to like score goals, produce offense. They scored in sort of the last 2 weeks of the season 7 against Winnipeg, then it was 3 against Detroit, 8 against Toronto, 6 against Nashville, 8 against Florida, 4 against Columbus, and they even ended the year with 6 against the Islanders. Like they're just scoring seemingly at will. Like I get the angle of like, the Lightning have played a ton of hockey over the last couple of years. And I think that's a reason where like I don't think they're going on a long run. I wouldn't bet on the Lightning to win the cup. I think at some point there's just not enough gas in the tank for them. But they are a tough task for the Leafs.
If I'm a Leafs fan, I do not like this first round matchup. It's
Yeah.
just, it's one of those ones where you go up against the defending champs. By the way, back to back defending champs. They've been there before. They know how to win in the playoffs. The Lightning can play some heavy hockey. And like Tyler just said, they can score goals in bunches. And for Toronto, I mean, goaltending's been an issue. It's gotten better down the stretch, but like ultimately it's been an issue for them. So against a team that can pump goals home, that's a scary one.
It's I don't want to. It's kind of a shame that this is a first round series, but it could have been if Toronto had got Florida or Tampa had got Florida too. Like anything that division was going to be tough. It's hard to bet against Tampa Bay.
It is.
That's my big thing. It's not even that I don't think Toronto can win this series because they're more than capable, but Tampa Bay just has everything you need to. Well, they've won back to back, like you said. Like Toronto, the goaltending is going to be everything. Like if Jack Campbell shows up and he's the goalie that he was at the start of the year, where everyone thought he was a clear Vezina favorite or one of the finalists at least, and they've got a good chance. But I don't know if Jack Campbell's going to show up and be that guy that they need.
For me, that's an X factor in Tampa's favor is Vasilevsky. How can you bet against that guy? Last year, if you think back to the playoffs, every series that the clinching game, he got a shutout in. The guy just he's a beast in the playoffs, and that's going to be a major challenge for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's also going to be a challenge for them because last year, if you remember, Marner and Matthews were basically non-existent in that first round. And if that happens again, that is real bad news.
Yeah, especially Marner. Like people were calling for him to get traded.
Yeah.
There was all these scenarios and obviously they didn't, which was probably the right decision. But Toronto is better than they were last year. I think we can all agree on that. But again, like I kind of like Tampa in 6. That's kind of where I would.
I have a funny feeling this is going 7. I think it's just going to be an all-out war. Like the goaltending, you're right. Vasilevsky could just stand on his head, and if the thing is, if he stands on his head in the right games, like on the games where maybe Tampa doesn't have it, and they're playing not quite as good as the Leafs, and the Leafs pepper 45 shots, but Vasilevsky only gives up a goal, like then yeah, this thing could end quicker. But I don't know. It pays plus 180 to go exactly 7 games. I don't maybe love that bet, but I do think this is going 7.
And this is two teams that they score a lot of goals too. Like Toronto finished the season with 315. Tampa was at 287. However, Tampa gave up 20 fewer goals. Very similar goal differential. I think that the goaltenders in this series specifically is going to be a massive story to follow. I agree with Liam. I think it goes 6, maybe 7. But I think this is going to be a fun one to watch. There's 2 high octane teams, and I don't know which way I would bet in this one, to be honest.
Yeah,
I like Tampa because of the experience, but ultimately Toronto's got weapons too, so it's going to be an interesting one to watch.
The other number that I found interesting is since April 1st in the last month of the season, again, because I like focusing on how teams are playing going into the playoffs, the Lightning are second in power play percentage, 32.7%. The Maple Leafs are 31st in PK percentage at 75%. So like if Tampa gets that power play going or keeps that power play going, Toronto's penalty kill hasn't been good as of late. That could be a determining factor. The Leafs are favorites. They're minus 120. The Lightning are plus 100. If you were to take the Lightning minus a game and a half, like Liam said, it goes all the way up to plus 180. I'm staying away. I'm just not touching this one. I think the Leafs are really, really good. But at the same time, like betting against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, I just can't pick a side here, honestly.
I actually think this is the one series I'm going to bet more money on than other ones.
Because you're that confident in Tampa.
I just find it so difficult to not believe in them. And Toronto has been the team over and over again that's failed. in the postseason. I think it's just going to play such a massive factor. If they go down 1-0 at home, like, you know, like who's been there, right? Like Spezza, I guess, is the only guy that's been to a final, right? Is there anyone else? I can't think of anyone. Yeah, like Giordano, I suppose, is like some experience. But again, like when he was on Calgary, they lost in the first round as the first seed.
Yeah.
Like,
but you could also look at it from the angle of have the Leafs just learned enough tough lessons over the last
True.
couple years, right?
Yeah,
you could also look at it too, like, to be fair to Toronto, that if they're going to get over the hump at some point, doing it against the defending back-to-back champs, like that could set the tone for a long run for them.
I think that actually, I think if they do get past it, I think they could go all the way. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they could go to the final. Like it would likely be Florida, which we kind of determined that they would play. But I just think you have that confidence in you, and like, you know, and also if they went into Florida, I don't think anyone would expect them to actually win. So the fact they could go and do that against them, I could see that happening.
Yeah, because if Toronto goes up against Florida, they're a good team with low expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they play a little loose, a little free.
Yeah, who knows? It's kind of like what Tampa went through when they lost to Columbus, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I give you guys, so PointsBet also has the option for you to bet on who will be the top goal scorer in every series. Matthews is the favorite at plus 225, followed by Stamkos and then Point and then Marner. But the bet I love, and I'm not going like a full big bet on this, but I'm sprinkling this. Nikita Kucherov is 9-1 to be the highest goal scorer in this series. In the month of April, no one in the NHL scored more goals than Nikita Kucherov. He has 14 in his last 16 games. This is 9-1. It's tremendous value on that.
That's very interesting. I can't believe that's the bet. They just like forgot he exists or what?
He didn't play all year and stuff like that. But I
get that. But like, well, you're talking about the last month, you know.
I think it's gonna be, if I do bet on the series, and I think I am going to do this. If you can get Kucherov anywhere around that 9-1 number, I think you got to jump all over it.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I like that one. That's probably the best bet we've spoken about so far, to be honest.
That's a really good bet.
Juicy as hell.